Hi there, it's Sam from poodles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I wanted to show you a box that was designed by my two eldest sons, Jack and Luke. I was in the office one day and I was just sort of fiddling around with some cardstock, working out some prototypes, and they said, "Oh Mum, can you make a box for us please that we can hide things in?" And I kind of looked at them and I wasn't really sure what they wanted, and the original box that we came up with was actually meant to be this shape, but it had the overlapping front, and what we found was because there was no sort of closure, there was nothing on the sides to stop it, it kept sinking in on itself, and actually this is the shape they came up with. Now I've done this one for Jack in Calypso coral and some International Bazaar Designer Series paper, but I'm going to make one for Luke now, who he prefers green, but I have prepared it all in advance because there is there's not lots of cutting out, but there is some cutting out, so I felt it was probably easier to do that bit in advance. But I want to show you the scoring because although it's going to seem complicated, it's really not. I am working from a crib sheet here on my left because actually from the angle I'm sitting at I can't see my measurements over there. Let me see if I can pull them out slightly so I can. Yes, I can, there we go. So the cardstock measures 10.5 inches this way and 7.5 inches this way. And the first set of scores, because you do sort of go left to right with it, comes at 1.5 inches. I hope you can see this grey. This is some old scrap cardstock that I've got, and I chose this so you could see it. So it's 1.5, 4, 6.5, and 9.25, and then turn it 90 degrees and score it at 2.5 and 5, and then you need to come back on yourself so that you've got this slightly shorter gap here, because this is actually 1.5 inches, so this is only 1.25, and then you need to score it at 1 inch. I'm just going to check this right. 1 inch and at 4.5, but only down to this first score line that we've got on the horizontal, because this, what we're actually doing is creating the side closure flaps, and then turn it all the way round because we're going to do these opposite ones here, and you score those at 6 and at 9.5. So hopefully that now makes sense. What we've done is we've done the opposite side, so you can see what I don't really know how to explain it. It was when you were doing this side you had nothing to carry on from, so this is why we've rotated it this way. Okay, so that's those ones done. We're going to do some more, and these come horizontally vertically coming down this way, and again these are only going up to the second score line, so this is 1 inch to the second score line and 6.5 inches again to the second score line. I am going to put all of the details on the blog and I'm going to show you my template, but actually what I'm trying to achieve is this. So I've got the closures, the flaps to close up, so these are all my measurements. So I'm going to move the scoring tool out of the way and bring back the grey one that I did, and then the Lucky Limeade, which is what I'm going to be working with, so you can see why these are relevant, all of these score lines, because it just makes life easier for you for when you're actually cutting out the bits. So essentially you're left with a long thin box that closes like that. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I have done all my scoring already, my folding already, and I've burnished all the creases. The one that I want to bring your attention to is this one here. I don't know if you can see that. It is when the box closes, because this is such good quality cardstock, because it's coloured all the way through, it's a much thicker cardstock, it wants to try and open itself even when you've got the brad in place. So do fold this in both directions, this score line here. So right, I've got all of that in place. I've got some designer series paper that is also like Jack's from International Bazaar, and I've already cut it down to size, and I'm just going to stick it on with some snail because it doesn't need anything more than that really. And that goes on the top, and this measures 2 1/4 by 2 1/2 that way, and this one down here measures 2 1/4 by 1. So basically you just chop off a piece that's 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 and chop an inch off it, and that becomes your second bit that comes over here. So that's that in place. Now we want to fit a brad in here that's going to come down at this point. I'm going to do it just with a pin, which is just the second gone out of my reach. There we go. So I just want to put a pin in. I need to know where it's going to close. So holding everything roughly in place, I know that I need the brad to be there, just roughly there. So that's that. And I've got my brad. This is Lucky Limeade. This is one of the in colours, and they've got all the 5 different colours in this lovely sort of spotty style. So I'm going to put that in there, and you need to make sure, I made this mess up the first time, that when you put your pin in, you need to make sure that the legs are going to go in those directions rather than like that. So put that in, and you can see what I mean now. You need it to go like that. So I'll close it all up now, really quite quick. You definitely need sticky strip on this. It's not a snail job on the side really. Close it up. I've just realised what I've completely forgotten to do. Completely forgotten to cut the sides off. This is one that you would actually sit and measure, but I'm going to cut this by eye, and I'm sorry, I'm going to show you on the other side. I haven't closed up. What you need to do is draw a line from this point here up to there on the diagonal, and then just snip it off. So I'm just quickly doing that by eye. So if it doesn't line up, I'm really sorry, but I hope it will. I hope it'll be close enough that you get the idea of what it is I'm trying to achieve. So lining up the sides. There we go. And this will close down underneath this brad. And like I say, that's how it closes. Now I have identified the boxes by their initials. I've got the J on here for Jack, and I'm going to do an L for Luke. So just with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, oops, throwing my ink around, and an L from the Lovely Letters collection. Bring in a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And punch it out with the 1 1/4 inch punch, circle punch. I've decided not to do the whole scallop thing. You know, I've got boys, they're not into scallops, they just want to know that their little brother or their big brother isn't going to get hold of their box or anything. So 1 1/4 and a 1 3/8 of an inch circle. Pop some dimensionals on the back, line it up. I'm not, you know, there's no sort of, I'm not distressing the edges or anything like that. There's, you know, probably boys' boxes these are. And an L in the middle for Luke. And that's it. Oops. So it looks complicated at first. It honestly isn't. It really, really, really is a quick box. This one wants to keep popping open. This is why I said fold down these edges. Make sure this one's very very tightly done. It is very easy. I will put the template on the blog for you and I will write down all of the measurements, but this is probably putting the scoring tool through its paces and showing you exactly what you can do with it. So thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions you want to ask me or you want to get in touch in any way, my details are below. Do leave a comment, pop by my blog, I've got a Facebook page, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Bye.